Hey, hey, hey. You know what day it is. Listen, listen, listen. It's Tuesday Tea with D. A Tuesday Tea with D. A Tuesday Tea with D. A Tuesday Tea with D. 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 Hey, 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 hey. It's your girl, Detra Trueheart, your life purpose generator, purpose provoker, and I Speak Life mentor with another weekly dose of tea on Tuesday Tea with D. And today's conversation is called Yes is a Form of Self-Care Too. Now, if you joined me last week, then you know that this is a continuation to last week's conversation that no is a form of self-care, where we talked about utilizing the word no and really being able to empower ourselves. And so this morning, I actually, and depending upon when you're watching this, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, I'm not drinking tea this morning. I'm drinking warm lemon water. I am in preparation for my live event in Niagara Falls coming up in about 3 weeks. And so just kind of not necessarily doing a detox, but just making sure that my body is prepared to show up at its highest capacity for the women who are going to be joining me for I Speak Life Live. And mentioning I Speak Life Live, this week's message of the Tuesday Tea with D is brought to you by the I Speak Life Live empowerment experience for women happening December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Niagara Falls, New York. And so you can get details about that at iSpeaklife.com, iSpeaklife.com, and get all of the details around what's happening. There is still time to register. There's still time if you are not from the area where you can't drive, if you want to fly. However, you got to get here, child. I'm just going to tell you to get here. The theme for the event is chosen but peculiar, and it's coming from 1 Peter 2:9. And so you can Google that and read that scripture so that you can kind of get a basis for what the theme of the event is. But this is my 3-day event where high capacity women who pour out to others come and allow themselves to get poured back into. And this is the time, where I get a chance to speak God's heart to you. I get a chance for to really to reignite your dreams. I get an opportunity to be able to reintroduce you to some dreams, right? And more importantly, for you to be able to kind of sit down with yourself and decide what exactly it is that you want to do with your life, not only to up to the end of the year, but as we transition into the new year, right? And so we really take some time to get clear on mindset blocks, limiting beliefs, ways that you are self-sabotaging, and then also thinking about what the things that you really want to do. What does it look like in order for you to accomplish those things, and how can we create a plan in order to do that? Right. So with that being said, I encourage you to go to iSpeakLifeLive.com, iSpeakLifeLive.com, to spend 3 powerful days with me in New York, in Niagara Falls, New York. So let's get to the tea, honey. Let me just take a sip of this, as I say my tea, but it is not tea today. Lemon water. And if you Google lemon water, you'll be able to see some of the benefits to drinking warm lemon water first thing in the morning and before you go to bed. So let's talk about this conversation here around yes is a form of self-care too. It is. But let me be very clear that you have to be strategic about what you are saying yes to. You have to be strategic about who you are saying yes to. And so I don't want you to walk away from this feeling like, oh my goodness, like, well, I'm already saying yes. No, 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 no. I want you to get very, very, very specific and very, very clear about what it is that you need to be saying yes to. And like I said, if you missed last week's conversation around no being a form of self-care, I would encourage you to go back to the YouTube channel, go back to that video, listen to that video, and listen to that as well as listening to today's conversation. Why did I decide to have this conversation? Well, because I think that sometimes we can be either or people, right? That it's got to be this or it's got to be that. And I have just decided that I am of the vein that it can be both and, right? Excuse me, it can be yes and it can be no, right? And so in some instances, it is definitely going to be no. And in some instances, it is definitely going to be yes. And so I want to give you some things to think about as it relates to what it is in this season you need to be saying yes to, because that really is the question. What is it that you need to be saying yes to in this season, in this time, for the next, 6 to 8 weeks of this year, right? I think we are now maybe about 40 days before the end of the year. What is it that you need to be saying more yes, giving more yeses to, as opposed to no's, right? And so I wrote some things down and then I'm going to expand upon this. But what if you needed to say yes to more peace in your life, or peace in general, right? What if things are just so chaotic and so cluttered that you haven't even given yourself permission to say, you know what? I want more peace in my life. I want more calm in my life. I want more joy in my life. What if you gave yourself permission to say yes to more rest, right? We are transitioning out of this culture where it's, this toxic hustle and grind culture. And granted, I get it. I believe in hard work. I believe in consistency. I believe in doing what you need to do now so that you can enjoy it later. Right. I believe in all of that. But what I don't believe in, and I am a product of it, is working yourself until you pass out, working yourself to exhaustion, working yourself to the point of where you can't even rest the way you really want to rest because you are working yourself like crazy. And so do you need to say yes to more rest? Do you need to say yes to more money, right? We say we want more money. In our heads, we're thinking like, oh, it would be really good to have more money. But like, have you really given that a solid yes? And are you really willing to do the work for it to show up? Right? Are you willing to do the work so that the fruits of your labor can be produced? So, what else do you need to say yes to? Do you need to say yes to less stress? Right? Some of us think that if it's not hard and if it's not stressful and if we didn't get it out the mud, that it's not worthy of us enjoying it. And some things I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to stress about. Some people I'm not going to stress about. Some places I'm not going to stress about. I'm not doing it. And so, what is it that you need to, in your mind, say, okay, I am saying yes to less stress. I'm saying yes to more money. I'm saying yes to more rest. I'm saying yes to having peace in my life. I'm saying yes to boundaries. I'm saying yes to being loved deeply. Sometimes we've been hurt so much that we cut ourselves out. We actually create a boundary where there should not be a boundary, or we create a wall possibly where there should be a boundary or a line that people can't cross. And so I just wonder, what is it that you need to say yes to as it relates to boundaries, as it relates to being loved deeply, as it relates to allowing people in your space who value you and love you and count you worthy, and who want to, appreciate you? Can you say yes to that? What about a renewed relationship with the Father? Right? Sometimes, we've gotten so used to living in a specific way with a specific routine that maybe you need to say yes to maybe doing things differently as it relates to your faith. Right? Yes, I want a greater and more intimate relationship with the Father. Yes, I want to spend more time with Jesus. Yes, yes. What is it in your life that you need to be saying yes to? Yes, I want the job. Yes, I want the promotion. Yes, I want the husband. Yes, I want the wife. Yes, I want a home that has the peace of God and that is serene and that I can have my own space to do what I want in it. Yes. What do you need to be saying yes to in this season of your life? I want to know. And to be honest, I want you to get a journal and I want you to write at the top, what do I need to be saying yes to in this season? What requires more yeses? What do I want to give more yeses to in this season? Yes, there are some no's that you need to give. Yes, you're probably going to say no more than you say yes, depending upon the circumstance, to get to what the specific goal or to do whatever it is that you're desiring to do, right? And so to say yes to more peace, you got to say no to more stress. right? To say yes to more rest, and you got to say no to not taking care of yourself. Y'all see what I'm saying with this here? And so when we are in a space of deciding that I get to decide that in this space I can say yes to some things that don't drain me. I can say yes to some things that don't stress me out. I get to choose what I want to say yes to. I get to say yes to things of my choice and my choosing. And I think it's important for us to be having these conversations because as your coach, if I was coaching you, I would ask you that question. I know that, you want X, Y, and Z, but what are you giving yourself permission to say yes to? I've had a couple of clients that I've talked to and worked with. And one in particular, I always go back to this story because I remember we were talking, and at the end of the session, I prayed with her and I kind of gave her whatever it is that God wanted me to give her. And and then the next week, she says, I thought a lot about what you said, and I went back into the notes and thought about like all of the things that you gave me. And I came to the conclusion that I've decided that I really do want everything that God says that I could have, that I'm ready to admit that I want it. And so maybe there are some things because of your past and because of hurt and because of trauma and because of you know, just 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 crappy people, right? Things have just happened that have not really been, sometimes we didn't make the best choice and sometimes it wasn't our choice at all, like the situation we didn't ask for. And that trauma and those situations still have some residue on us and they cause us to say no to things that rightfully are ours to say yes to. And so, my challenge to you today is to say yes to the things that you really want and position yourself to achieve it, to get yourself ready for it. If you say, yes, I really do want a brand new house, and what does it look like for you to start getting your credit ready, to get your money ready, to start speaking with a realtor, to start driving around and looking at houses to get an idea, like setting your mind and posturing your body and posturing your energy toward what it is that you desire, right? We can pray and say, Lord, this is really what I want. And God can honor it. He will honor it. But will you be ready for what it is that you're asking for? And sometimes you don't get it, not because you weren't supposed to have it, but because you weren't ready for it. There's some things that I really believe God is not going to allow us to have. He might give us a taste, but He's not going to allow us to have it if He really believes that we are not ready for it. Right. And we can say, yeah, there's some instances where people get things that they didn't deserve. And you might be right. Right. You might be absolutely right, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about you, boo. And so my question and my statement and just the theme of this message is, what is it that you desire that you have not said yes to? What is it that you want more of that you have not said yes to? What is it that you have, it's like right in your, or maybe you've not even considered it. You've not even considered that it is an option. But if there are some things that you desire and you're just like, Lord, I know that you said that I could have this, and I have personally self-sabotaged my way out of it, I'm stepping into my yes. That yes is a form of self-care, that I deserve to be treated well. I deserve to not be talked to any kind of way. I deserve to have nice things. I deserve to eat well. I deserve to be able to take care of my children in a way that was better than how I was taken care of. I deserve, right? And so I'm saying yes to those things. And then I'm putting my feet to the ground to do my part. Right? We're not talking about genie in the bottle kind of stuff. Like, to some extent, if you want more peace, then you got to remove toxic people. Like, there's some things that you have to do if you want it. If you want less stress, then there's some things that you do have to stop doing. If you want less overwhelm, there's some things and some people that you got to relinquish. Right? There is a part that you play in this. And so, as I close with today's conversation around yes is a form of self-care, again, I want you to take some time today after watching this, get your journal. And at the top, I really want you to ask, what is it that I would need to say yes to in this season? And maybe even what is it that I have said no to that I need to start saying yes to simply because I want it. And God wants good things for me, right? His thoughts towards me are good and to have a future and a hope, right? And so if that's the case, then I need to start getting in alignment with good. I need to start getting in alignment with great. I need to start getting in alignment with the yeses that don't take away, but add to me. Too many times we're saying yes to things that deplete us and saying no to the things that refuel us. And so I want to encourage you to really think about this as your coach. What are the things that you need to start saying yes to? What are the things that you need to start saying yes to? Hopefully, this was a good serving of tea today. And like I said, today's tea is lemon water. And so I probably will drink a couple of these today. But I want you to do the work. My job as your coach is to help you to get out of your own way, help you to stop settling so that you can show up for yourself in the same way that you show up for others. And part of that is mastering your yeses as well as your nos, because there's some things that you want to get in the habit of saying yes to that in the past you wouldn't have even thought to say yes to. And so, with that being said, I will see you next time and next week on Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. All right. I will see you soon. Have a great and amazing day. And oh, don't forget to register for iSpeaklife Live. Go to www.ispeaklifelive.com. See you later.